So with everyone, with this being our second to last week of this mastermind, the round of the mastermind, I think that this is a really good, important time for all of us to just kind of like check in and evaluate where your business is at, where you want to go for the next 6 months, whether or not you're returning to the mastermind. I think it's still really, really valuable, not valuable. I'm like, words are hard this morning. I told Andrea already, but disclaimer, if you're watching this, I just took an antibiotic and I was like hoping it wouldn't make me super nauseous this morning. And it did. So I was like, if I'm not my usual like super hype self this morning, that is why. But within one of the things that I realized is that as CEOs of these businesses, one of the things that can get really hazy is really figuring out the data versus like the drama of our business. And I was doing this with another client last Wednesday, and we were talking about like the pieces and aspects of her business that were working, that were not working. And one of the things that like I realized for all of us is that when we are able to make it a little bit more data focused about these pieces of your business, that is one of the most important things that we want to do, because our mind can like, it wants to spin everything in a negative way. And again, I was just telling Andrea, I was like, oh, Maria's here. Great. But I was just mentioning that one of the things that like we talked about at our 200K call last weekend or last Wednesday was that our brains are just braining. And when we can just be like, okay, my brain is just doing its thing and it is freaking out and spinning the story in some sort of negative way, what happens is we want to just bring it back to the facts and get like really circumstantial, and then really like focus on the circumstantial things that are within our control that we can change. So I was thinking that like so the monthly evaluation is number 11. It's under the monthly checklist system and it's here if you guys need it. I switched it around a little bit. So it's like what would I like to improve? Because again, semantics matter, instead of something that like, what isn't working or what needs to change? Something like, what would I like to improve? What would be helpful? And if you want to do this with me on our call today, we can totally do that. But the reason why it's really helpful, I'm doing that webinar on Monday of next week. Kind of like, if you guys want to go just to like see how I'm like setting up the webinar, like a consult, like I talked with you guys about, I think it's really helpful to see that like you have the structure and the foundation of a 6-figure business. So it's like the foundation is like your pillars, your mindset, your long-term planning, like the vision for your business. That's, as a CEO, what we need to have as foundation. I have it here. And then we also have the marketing, sales, managing leads, delivery. Those are all the things that are on the front end of your business. And then planning's on the back end of the business. So I kind of revamped this like monthly eval to be like a little bit more like within the front end is first, and then planning is the last one that is at the end. So I'm actually going to go in and change that in the templates. But I hope that's helpful for you guys. I want us to like really think about like, okay, what do I really want to create within the next 6 months? What are my goals? How can I ensure that if that is something that we want to do, that it's happening? And I'm sorry, my lovely what's it called? I had somebody help me to make my modules, and I think he moved some stuff around in here. So in any event, this is the way, a good template, and I'll copy and paste this into our notes for today. But these are the 6 pillars, something I recommend going through every month. Now, especially like seeing all the things that our brains can do, this might be helpful for everybody. So with that all being said, that was a lot of stuff. Who would like coaching first? Andrea. I saw your finger moving.
Yeah, yeah, I can. Well, so like I said, um, so I'm in Chicago right now, and I caught a 6 a.m. flight up here, and I was trying to strategically do that so that I could make this call. And then also, because all today is just a travel day for me. So it's kind of wide open. I don't have husband, dogs, kids, anything. So I kind of feel like, oh, I have this like whole wide open day. Um, I want to maximize that time like for my business. Um, and so there's like, and I feel like this is just where I've been at, I think, for a long time in my business is just like a bunch of swirling ideas, competing things that I'm like, oh, this could be good, that could be good. You know, part of me is like, okay, like I want to bring in some money. That's what I want to do. I want people to hire me. That's first and foremost. But then I also am like, but it's been a while since I logged into the LCS portal and watched anything there, or there's, still videos from this mastermind that I need to also, catch up on and, the different like worksheets that I still need to kind of like tailor to me and like, and all that stuff. So I just feel like I have a lot of like competing priorities and having a little bit of a indulgent moment, just kind of spinning in that, well, I don't know, it all sounds good, it all could be impactful or not impactful. So guess trying to make a plan for my day
Yes.
on how to bring money in.
How are we going to bring money in? So one of the things that there are two different ways that we bring money in. And it sounds like a lot of the indirect ideas are the ways that like we want to still be like thinking about our education. We still want to be learning things. We want to be doing all of that. I would like to at least give equal airtime to both. So being like, at least we're going to put some into like direct ways to bring funds in. Now, if you're thinking about like within each of these pieces, there's delivery, there's marketing, there's sales, there's teaching, there's managing leads and planning. I would say that planning is a little bit more on the indirect side. So we're going to like plan out your day today and then you just get to execute. Yeah. So within that, we've got delivery is not a priority right now because we don't necessarily have people to deliver to. There's sales. So we're going to like cut out. This is how my brain, like as a CEO of a business, is like thinking like, okay, which of these things can move your dial forward the most? And what I'm thinking is marketing, teaching, and managing leads are the three places that I could see us doing effort today to directly affect your business leads. Okay. So within those three pieces, if we're thinking about the way that your business has really like grown up until this point, it's been like you did like a webinar before, we did some posting before, and the people just kind of came. There wasn't really like direct managing leads that you were doing like outreach or like, right?
No, yeah, so I've always my most successful has been just like this group coaching program that was like 6 weeks.
Yep.
And I would basically just a week to maybe 2 weeks beforehand just start talking about it on social media. Okay. And people would sign up. I think I did do it once where I did it like kind of a month long kind of a thing, and I felt like
that was too much.
I didn't get any better results, right? Yeah, I think just the week or two seemed to be really good. So I was kind of thinking, October 1st is coming up. I don't know. I have a lot of drama about the one-on-one coaching versus the group coaching, just because I feel like I've had a lot more success like selling the group coaching or just more people signing up, I guess. So for me, it just seems more safe, less drama if I just do like a group coaching program. And I think it does kind of boil down to like my money kind of mindset and the cost, and that like people just don't want to pay that much, even if it is like one-on-one. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that like when you're thinking about measuring success, there are so many ways that we measure success. I think with the group, you would get numbers, with one-on-one, you would get more funds. So I think that
Mhm.
for me, if I'm thinking like like if this were like Apple, like a huge company, I would be like, okay, what is going to bring in, what is the opportunity cost for both? So it's like they're with the thing that I would be weighing between the two is that like if there's less drama and it feels safer to do the group, then I feel like we can measure success by bringing in people. And that's what I would, because you do have your income, like your typical job, I don't know what else to call it, like your traditional job, it's feeding your income. So it's not like there's not like a direct income need. I think we need to get the
Mhm.
business going. And so mine would be numbers, like for the group versus like numbers in the monetary form with the one-on-one. That's my thoughts. I want to see like how does that feel to you?
I mean, it definitely feels easier, and I feel like my thought about this like a little bit like a year ago, let's say. I had this like first 6 week program, and then I had like a follow-up 6 week program,
Right.
and the re-sign rate was fairly like decent. It was like between 50 to 60% of people signing up. And so I almost kind of felt like that was pretty good and where I really needed the work. And I know that it's not really like how a lot of people do it, but was like, how do I then take those people who signed up for that second 6 week and then like sell them on, and now it's time to like work one on one. Does that make sense? It's almost kind of like the reverse of what everyone else does. First the one on one and then you offer the group, but like I don't know, that seemed to me to like kind of feel like the trajectory that I was kind of on, and like kind of made sense for me.
Well, and that's what Jackie, my business coach, does. She does group to one-on-one. That's like her
Oh
thought.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely like I think that we see like we've heard from a couple of other people that that's not, they're like, oh, one-on-one to group, but I really do think that you can do it either way. And if this is easier, less drama, and safer for your brain, let's definitely do this option for sure. That's what I'm hearing. Does that feel good to you? Like, let's move forward with doing the group in October 1st.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Because also in my brain, I tell myself, I'm like, oh, well, the people that were in my previous group, they if they hear I have a new group program, may want to also like do this one as well, especially if I'm kind of highlighting the differences, right? Like tracking those like intangibles and teaching new material. I think they'll enjoy that. So and for me, that's also like an easy lead to reach out to that like
Yeah,
doesn't feel weird.
I love it. Okay, so we are knocking out one-on-one. And with managing leads, then we are like, okay, we've got a plan of action. It's like the reach out to previous group clients, right? Now, within the we want to like highlight the differences to them. We can come up with like a little like script to talk to them about. And that means that not this 2 weeks. I was like, yeah. So it's like this week, next week, and then October 1st is happening. Would you like to launch the group on that October 2nd date? Did you do the group on the weekends? What date did you do the group?
What do you mean, like the group call
Yeah, yeah.
or?
What time and day did you do the group calls? What, and if you can change it if you want.
They were usually in the evenings. I mean, there were some that I did on Mondays, some Tuesdays, some like I think was Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Um, so any one of those, I guess, could
What
work. But
would be best for you? Did you do it like whatever works for them, kind of?
no, I just chose,
Okay.
and then they either came or they didn't.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. And how much was this group again?
So my previous ones, at one point they were 200 and then I went up to 250, I think. And the
Okay.
last one was 297, I believe, but not a lot of traction on that one.
Would you like to sell the group for this time?
I mean, that's a good question. I was kind of thinking maybe like 497, but then I was gonna kind of have 4 group coaching calls and then like 2 like one-on-one calls.
Love it.
Um, yeah.
Well, and see, the thing is, like, again, I think when we get into like more of like the A-line stuff, then your brain
Mhm.
actually has to work solving this stuff. So it's like which is what I really think is so helpful. And I'm so glad that we've like worked through this. So when you're thinking about like within the group, having the 4 group coaching calls and the 2 one-on-one calls, we didn't even like know that you were going to do group or one-on-one until a couple of seconds ago. So if you want to like take some time, so it's like, I think this sounds like a really good setup. What would you want to do it like coaching for a full month and then a new group starts every month? Would you want to do like a new group starts every 6 weeks? Because before it was 6 weeks, right?
Mhm.
So it was 6 weeks and then it was 200, 250, 297.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking probably that same like 6 weeks.
Okay, perfect.
Um, yeah.
And maybe what you could do, well, okay, I was like, let your CEO brain. I'm like, okay, what would you as the CEO, what would you do? You want everyone to have their one-on-one call the first week and the last week, like kind of like what we do? Would you want them to just have the opportunity to space that out? Would you want them, like, what would you want that to look like?
It would be more structured. So I don't think first and last. Um, I like the idea of having like a first call all together with the group to kind of get the like, the excitement, the like introductions and all that. So maybe like the second and maybe the 5th week
Perfect.
as individuals.
Yes. And this is like, I feel like this is like it also gives our brains like something to like, instead of like being like, okay, like what are we going to do? It's like, okay, then this is, my brain is like struggling when we have actually something to focus on like this. It's like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and then it gets to work solving better problems. So it's like, okay, we're going to do
Hmm.
one-on-one and then we'll do group one-on-one group, kind of like that.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that last one can also be kind of like a celebration, kind of key takeaways, kind of that like final wrap. So yeah, I like that.
Beautiful. Now you're going to be tracking those intangibles and things like that. And do you have, I don't know if you have your updated pillars or something like that, but I think that when we're talking about like, okay, we're going to be tracking intangibles, like just being really clear. One of the things that like I'm trying to be really clear about in my marketing is like, okay, how am I clarifying? I'm like, this is what the group is for. This is what it's not for. Like, it's not like we're gonna like lose. The goal is not to lose 100 pounds in 6 weeks. So
Hmm.
what it like with the intangibles? Could you remind me of like the things that they're going to build because of this group? And then we can get your brain to work like, okay, how can I sell this? What can I do to get people excited about this?
Well, that's a really great question, Megan. What are my pillars? I I know one of them was like weight loss, like momentum, was one of them confidence?
I've got it somewhere. Hold on.
I
Just
can't recall.
then, okay. So again, see it now, and I actually am going through with my coach right now, and we're redoing my pillars. Like, and
Uh-huh.
so I think that's going to be super, super helpful. But if it's like, okay, we've got momentum, confidence, living intentionally, and emotional eating, which I think is huge. Like being able to like have and it was like unfrustrate your diet, 4 months of weight loss. Is this the final one or is this the final one? I think that
I'm doing this off my phone. Like I can't
I'm,
hardly,
I'm
I
looking
can't
really
hardly see
see.
it, but
I'm like, but I think that it was like self-confidence, momentum,
Mhm.
living intentionally, and emotional eating. I think those are like the
Yeah,
four things that
I
you
think those were the final.
get perfect. So I'm just going backwards because I'm like eating, living. I'm just doing the ones I'm thinking of. This is not in any particular order. Chili, momentum. Damn, what was that last one? I was
And
like
confidence.
confidence. Confidence. Okay, perfect. Okay, and confidence. Okay. So this group is for people who want to learn. And again, this is where we get with the intangibles. It's like not they want to stop emotional eating forever, but understand the root cause of emotional eating and how to overcome it. So it's like you're going to learn skills to overcome emotional eating. And I love this. You know what I think is so great about this is you could cover one of these in each of the group calls too, if you want.
Yeah.
That like I think we're
Mhm.
well. Then we've got it's like learn how to live intentionally, learn how to track and keep up momentum, and learn how to generate confidence, self-confidence. So now that we've got those pieces, like if someone wants to learn what over emotional eating is and how to overcome it, what a great time to do this group. If someone wants to like be more intentional within this next quarter of the year, you could tell it like that. That's a way that you could talk about it. If someone wants to learn how to keep track of their weight loss and keep up momentum, beautiful. And I think that's a great one to do either. I would do this one at the beginning potentially. So they're like tracking at the start of week one. You're like, here are the things that you are tracking over the next 6 weeks. We are going to be looking at these things. I'm going to be charting it with your Google form each week. I'm going to see how you're doing. And this is going to be really helpful. Like, how does that sound? Like, I feel like that's a good first one. And then we're going to be
Yeah.
like, what are we keeping up momentum with? And then it's like, do we want to talk about emotional eating? And then like, which one do you think is next? Maybe it's like overeating because it's like
I would probably say like living intentionally, right? Because like making those particular choices and being intentional in how you're showing up throughout the day, or with your workouts, with your food plans, whatever, like that's going to help keep that momentum building. And then I
yeah,
think after that would be like the emotional eating, because that's kind of like the obstacle or whatever that might have gotten in your way. So let's talk about that. Um, and then I guess self-confidence would be last. Talk
like
about.
what a great way to like finish it too. Like to be like, and it's like talking like it's like this is awesome. You guys have grown so much in the past 6 weeks. I would love to keep up the momentum with you. If you want to come with me for the next round, we're gonna do this every 6 weeks. Does that sound like something that would be like sustainable and something like enjoyable for you? Like to do something like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I was trying to do it before, was just like maybe not every 6 weeks, but like, you know, um, one group right after the
Yeah.
other, it's all good.
So when we are thinking about this, do you what if you want to teach something within each week, how long, like, would you want to do like 20? You could do something like what we do is like 2 hours of coaching. You could do 20 minutes of coaching and or teaching, and then like 40 minutes of coaching. Do you want
So
to?
what I did previously was I would actually just like write up a lesson and I would already have it like pre-recorded. So I did all of mine within a Facebook group. And so every Sunday I would just have it scheduled to post the video. It would post the workbook for the week on Sunday evenings, I think it was. And so when we did the group coaching call, it was purely an hour and it was just talking. And so I did really limit my groups. I tried to keep them just at 4. One time I had 6 people sign up, so I just split them into 2 different groups and just had 2 different calls because I really wanted to, and that was one of my selling points, was like really making sure that everybody had the time and the space on the call to really like talk about something. So I was trying to give at least 15 minutes to each person to discuss, what they had going on for them that week.
Have going on for them that week, 15 minutes each. I think that's a huge selling point. We need to talk about that for sure, because I think that one of the things I see with a lot of like the big group things is that like sometimes the personal touch gets lost, and that's where you definitely have like an asset and like a leg up within. So we've got that you're going to be tracking intangibles, teaching the new material. What's your favorite color again? Is it purple or?
Yeah, purple.
Okay, great. Okay. So we've got the differences here, and then we've got the pillars, and then we've got the format. Do you want to do or so it's going to be an hour. Do you want to tell them like the weeks, nights ahead of time, or do you want to just kind of choose it with the group? Either way works.
I'll just choose it based on my schedule, probably. Just like Thursday evenings, probably.
Awesome. So probably like Thursday evenings, but you can always change, like just like with this, it's like, wow, evens. I was like, I can't spell today. It's fine. Evenings. We'll figure it out. I can't with my brain. There we go. Evenings. Thank you. So within the weeknights, so we're gonna start on Thursday night. That means that potentially, do you want to do Thursday nights, or do you want to just kind of like keep it fluid? Either way.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking for right now. I'll have to like run it by my husband, see what he's able to cover with the kids and the dogs and all the things. But
yeah. But tentatively, it'll be like maybe like the 5th, the 19th, the 26th, the 2nd. Hold on, I'm writing it down. October 5th, 19th, 27th. Is that right? 25th, skip a week for the one-on-one. 19th, 26th, 2nd. 26th, November 2nd would be, so that's 1, 2. Oh, this would be, okay, so this is call 1, call 2. Just gonna call 3, and then again, just so you can like run this by the partner, and then this would be the week of the one-on-one calls, and then October, and you'd finish up November 9th. So that'd be like the last potential call.
Yeah, which I think is like really good, because we kind of get through like the whole candy hullabaloo of like Halloween, but like it ends right before the real holidays. But they should have enough like tools and like resources to like get them through that successfully too. So I think, yeah, that's good.
I think that's awesome. And then, so now, and then also, what a great time to keep back up. Be like, if you want to keep up momentum through the holidays, I got you. And
Mhm.
then it'll be like, then the next group would go like, no, the 16th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then it would end December 21st. So then it would be right before the new year, which is another time when everyone wants to get started. I mean, like the timing of this, seriously impeccable. I'm like, yes, this is perfect. If we can figure out, like, okay, so we've got the format, we've got the pillars. I think these dates are really awesome. I think that having the Sunday evenings is going to be really, really powerful, that you just like have that recorded. I think that also gives you a lot of stuff to do. So when we're thinking about planning out your day, to do when we're talking about like figuring out who would be a good fit for this group, I think that the first thing that we're going to need to do is marketing. We're going to need to market this group, figure out how you want to market it. Would you like to do
Mhm.
format that we've talked about, like the 3 posts, cold, warm, hot, then start? Would you like to do a webinar to be like, hey, if you are interested in joining this, go ahead? Would you like, there are so many ways that you can do it. How would you like to?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I could potentially do a webinar. I feel like it would have to be like on Friday or something like super soon. So just in my mind, I was thinking like webinar on Friday and then heavy social posts next week, um, selling it.
I think that you could do your webinar the same day as I do it on the 25th. And I think this could be, so that gives you a whole other weekend to like get the webinar done, to talk to people. Or if you want to do it on Friday, that works too, the 22nd. Which
Mhm.
which do you feel like would work better?
Um,
When do
I
you
don't
send
know.
when do you send out your weekly email to like remind people?
For what? A webinar
Just anything. Like
or
you send out a weekly email. Like again, we're getting back in the swing of things. When did you used to send?
right. Generally, it was like Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so if you wanted to do it, what you could do is, if we look back at the Jazzy, nope, teaching, what I like to do is you could do an email like, this is like the week of the email. It's like that's the second email in this sequence. So it's like you could do like this week, mark your calendars. I don't think it's too last minute at all to send out an email either today or tomorrow to be like, this week, and I'm just gonna put second email. You know, that's not like it's just the second email in here. You know that, okay,
Okay.
cool. So it's like second email, this week, webinar happening Friday. And then the third email would be on Friday morning. When would you want to do it on Friday?
It would probably be in the evening.
Awesome. Okay. So
Yeah.
then Friday morning, then the fourth email would be 30 minutes into the presentation.
Okay.
And then the fifth email about the group. And what I have on here for the examples for that is like, you could, I know you don't do like a money back guarantee, but you could have like, I have just the program info could be one that you send, and you could be like, sign up now could be another one. So you could send one.
So, I mean, let's talk about like a money back guarantee. Like I guess that would be the question. Like, what am I guaranteeing? I'm not guaranteeing. I mean, to guarantee, oh, you'll lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks. Like that's kind of a hard,
It's
you
like,
know.
that's where you're like, that's where we use the intangibles. It's like, you will learn, I guarantee that you will know how to track and keep up with momentum, because I'm literally going to give you a video. I guarantee that you will know how to live intentionally because I will have a video. I'm going to guarantee that you will learn the skills to overcome emotional eating again because of said video, and you will learn how to generate self-confidence. It's not consistently. It doesn't mean that they are doing it forever. It just means that they will have those skills for the rest of their life. If that's something they're looking for, that's what they're going to learn in this group.
Okay.
When you're on your consult with them and you're like, how are you with keeping up momentum with your weight loss? Do you feel like you are living intentionally? Intentional eating is a huge part about like the weight loss process. Do you know how to overcome emotional eating? That's something I'm going to teach you. Do you know how to generate self-confidence? Even if you were to like, we want to have confidence as we go through the process, and we can pull on other areas of your life to thought swap it, whatever you want to say. But that's what you want to hit on and be like, if you want to learn these skills. And that's when I think like having the consult to look back on is really helpful with the chart to be like, okay, you said that you wanted to learn all these things. You did learn all these things. The number, the goal, I want to be surrounded by who you're becoming, and then the number will follow. Versus being like, it's dependent on the number. That's what this group is for. If you want to lose weight quick, that's like the other thing I was talking about. Like, you want to be clear who it's not for. It's not for people who are trying to 100 pounds in 6 weeks. Or like, it's like, this is not for that. It's for people who want to create a sustainable weight loss program. They want to create a sustainable weight loss mindset that helps them lose the weight and keep the weight off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Way to weight loss, learn how to keep the weight, like to lose weight and keep off weight. And like, you know, it's by managing your mind, but it's like, you can even say like, I would just say a sustainable way to weight loss would be a great title for the webinar.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah, I just don't know if like since this is going to be kind of like a new like group coaching like format, a little different than what I've done before, like maybe I should leave the like money back guarantee out of it for right now, just so that I can kind of measure like a little bit more clearly for myself, like, did this concept here work before I add something else in?
And what I would do is I would be like, so they want to sign up for their consult to join. You're going to have the webinar on the 22nd. They want to sign up to join by the 29th because you're going to release the video on October 1st.
Okay.
Okay. So it's like release video October 9th, 1st. Okay. So this is going to be Friday. I'm like trying to think about the best way to like put this out for you, but I'm like, this is going to be Friday the 22nd. Then this is going to be like, do you want to send this out today or Wednesday?
Probably Wednesday, because I'm thinking one of the things I need to do today is figure out like the webinar topic and all that. So
I would say that do your people typically check their email on the weekend?
I could probably look through my ConvertKit and maybe see. I think I've maybe sent a couple things on the weekend, but primarily it's been during the week.
Let's do it Monday. This is going to be Monday the 25th. You'll be like, new 6-week program. Here are the details. Sign up for your consult to join by Friday. And then you could send it like another one on like Wednesday and be like, last last 2 days to join. Sign up for a consult by Friday. And then this could be this 6 email. It could be like, what does a consult look like? What happens on a consult?
Okay.
So how does that feel to you?
I mean, I think it feels good. I mean, it's definitely a, get to work kind of a thing, but
You want some A-line, let's go.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it feels good. It feels like I have direction and a plan. So,
Yes. Well, and we can, with this sustainable guide to weight loss, the way I want you to format that is like like a consult. So that's where you're going to be like, okay, what is the problem? Why do people, and this is where you go straight back to that PSPR. Hence why I'm redoing my PSPR this weekend. Do not redo your PSPR. Don't do it. I was like, I know this is where it's like it's like we just want to like try, and this is where being a CEO, it's like we're just trying this. We're gonna try this. We're gonna see what works. We're gonna figure out what doesn't work, and we've got another round starting November 9th, and we've got another round starting December 28th or something like that. So it's like we just want to keep it going and just like, okay, we're gonna give this the best shot. If not, we've got 6 weeks from now, we're gonna do it again. You know what I mean? It's like
okay.
that's what we want to like. It's not like this is the only like time to like, even my brain, it's my 3rd launch of this group. And even my brain yesterday was literally like, this is the launch to end all launches. If this doesn't work, then it's just never got it. I'm like, it's already working. Literally, like, brain. I'm like, okay, chill. But it's like, just know that your brain's gonna go there and be like, we're gonna work on the A-line, and I will have my time for like thought work if I need to at night, but I'm gonna schedule this in. And it's just a trial. We're just going to try this out. We're going to be like, okay, so it's like, the problem is I see that people aren't consistent. I see that people feel insecure around food and their appearance, and do it in the order that you're teaching it. Like, they don't feel like they know how to live intentionally unless it's really intense. And every time they feel stressed, they look to food. I want to help you overcome this. When you do my program, I'm going to teach you how to keep up momentum. I'm going to teach you how to feel good about the way they look and confident about what they eat. I'm going to help you to learn how to intentionally prioritize weight loss, and I'm going to help you keep your stress eating under control. We will do that with the consistency formula. And you could do like, this will be something that we can play with. So this first one, you could do it like direct PSPR for each pillar. And then the next one we could do, it could be like all of the problems, all of the solutions, all the process, all of the result. So which one do you think would be a good way to do this one? Do you want to do it like all like problems for everything, or do you want to do it like momentum, intentional, emotional, confidence?
I'll probably break them out separately.
Right. So it's like, look, it's like this is sustainable way to weight loss. Like, you can change up the title. It doesn't need to be that. But it's like, then now it's like, okay, so then you're gonna be like, you're gonna go through, it's like, here's the problem. This group is gonna teach you. Then it's gonna be like, this group is gonna teach you how to track things with momentum. We're gonna do that first week. Then you're going to get a one-on-one call, and we're gonna go really in depth with like who you are. Like, we're gonna get to know you. I'm gonna do a consult with you, and I'm gonna make sure that like this is a good fit for you. This isn't for people who want to like do a yo-yo diet. This is for people who want a sustainable and functional weight loss system that they can put into, again, system's my word, like, but like a way that people can put things in. And then you're going to learn how to keep up momentum. I want to check through these things with you. And then we'll be checking in every single week. Here's the group, fucking badass. And this is where I'd be like, with the holidays coming up, I realize that like, it's like after summer and Halloween coming up, or like, if you want to like say like, fall holidays coming up, it's like, this is right when we hit like the post-summer slump or something like that. Post-summer slump. Because there's no one seeing you in a bathing suit anymore. And it's just so access all this stuff. I would help you keep keep up your momentum, which is a pillar, to like instead of hitting the slump, you just keep going on this weight loss journey. And then
Okay.
I would love to sign you up for a consult. How does that feel to you though? I feel like this is badass.
Yeah. I mean, I think it sounds good.
And look at like we just made so many fast decisions. It's like, okay, boom, got it. So we've got these are gonna be your emails. Where am I? Okay, so up here, and I can we've got this for marketing. This is your email to-do list, is write all 6 of these emails. And again, we're gonna test it. It's like maybe we need to switch it up a little bit, but I think that this is already a really strong start. How do you want to do social media marketing?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, I've usually just, I create some sort of like a graphic for it. I share it on my stories. I share it on my regular, like, just as a post, and I pin it. I usually start sharing my client testimonials, like on my stories and as a post as well. Yeah.
So do we want to just like, so today will be like, so this is like Tuesday. So it's going to be like today, create the graphic and post. And then tomorrow, maybe a testimonial. Then what I've learned with things like this is like, you want to like overcome an objection, like, or
Okay.
like, so it's like, this is your warm leads, essentially. So it's like, essentially you're doing like cold, and it'd be like, and for your cold leads, this would be like, I really want to help you overcome the summer slump. This is something that's really important. I want to help you keep up momentum. Like, that is why I decided that I'm going to, I want to do a webinar talking all about the sustainable guide to weight loss. And then this is your hot. So it's like, if you're looking to lose, it's like to create a sustainable way to weight loss. This is something that this client experienced. I helped her through that. She learned how to manage her emotions, which is the biggest part about it. And then I think for a good objection for your people is like talking about the yo-yo dieting. And be like, Friday, it's like webinar tonight. Make sure you're there. And then Saturday, Sunday. Do you want to post over the weekend? You don't have to.
I mean, I can.
Let's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. So Friday. And with all these, it's like last day to join, last 2 days or like 1 day left, 2 days left, last something like what you're doing an email already. It's like, here are the program details. So you're just going to take the same thing that you're doing for your email, and you're going to do the same thing for your post. So don't make it any different. And then we've got this 2 days left to join is going to be the Wednesday. Same thing here. So within this, thinking about like warm, hot, and cold leads, I think that you could take this 5th email that you're sending out Monday to your audience and post about this and pin it on Saturday. So it's like, so you're gonna pin this graphic, right? So it's like, for me, like right now on my social media, It's like I've got the pinned whatchamacallit, the one about the webinar, and then literally right after the webinar on Monday, I'm gonna take it down and be like, join the program. The program, it's like consultation Friday. Be like, sign up by Friday, all that goodness. So be like, you could do one about like the pricing. Be like, this is a really great deal. This is what it's like, this is like, you could do like what they're gonna learn each. This is where you can do like the, hopefully it'll load, but you know what I'm talking about, like the 6-figure systems, like you will learn how to overcome momentum. That first one that I have that's just about 6-figure systems, that's what I would do here. And then Sunday do something like you can figure out posts for here. But how does that feel for you? And then you can just keep reposting this shit to your story and just be like, join now, join now.
Right.
Like, so that could be a way that you could keep up momentum. Do you have any other, like, if you can do posts for these 3 days, you do not have to do posts for those 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, I think that's fine. And I think I'll probably just go back to maybe some of my other launches and kind of see what maybe I could just kind of tweak and reuse for this new program.
And this is where you could do your transformation Tuesday and be like, story. This is where you can be like, I know that, like, it's like, I was able to do this. I know I can help you do this too.
Yeah.
The only thing here is make the webinar. Beautiful. And then reach out to previous clients so you can figure out which days to do that. But I think this is awesome. And so if you see all this stuff on here, how do you feel about the indirect stuff? I deleted that before I asked you about it. I was like looking at another video from the life coach school or things like that.
I mean, still stuff that I kind of want to do, but I think it's not needed. You know, this is really gonna move the needle forward. I think it's more just like buffering with, learning.
Yep. And now you know what to do. So your brain doesn't really need to buffer anymore. It's just like, okay, we're going to go for it. We're going to try this. We're going to figure this out. Like, we're going to make this business work. It's like, there's no right way to run a business. There's just a business you decide to make right. We are deciding that this is right for you and we are going to get to fucking work within, and then like afterwards you can be like, okay, brain, if I make all these posts, if I get all this content ready, then you can batch this. You can like literally go through today. It's not that many. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 posts or reels that you want to do, which is a lot. I know you're getting like right back into it. We're baptizing you with fire, but it's like, we're just gonna, I think that if you're like, okay, I've got 11 posts to do, how much time do you have today? Within this
I mean, I have all day.
Perfect.
I'm already here, so.
Amazing. Okay, so after this call, it will be 11 o'clock your time. How long do you think it'll take for you to make 11 posts?
I mean, I could make it take all day.
Well, then you also
I don't know, probably
webinar, and I would
at least a couple hours.
Okay, so like if we were to break it down, let's say it takes you 30 minutes a post, 30 minutes to 11 is
that's like 5.5 hours.
Okay. And that's like hashtags, graphics, all that ready. So that means like what I would do is I would take an hour, make all the videos, and then write the captions as you go. And then after that, so that'll be, I would like for you to take a lunch. So that'll be around 5 o'clock your time. Then you can actually make, I would say that, so it's like, this is like content. Then reach out to those leads and be like, I just created this brand new group coaching program. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a similar format to last time, but it's going to be great. I want you to do this. I want you to do this today because your brain is not going to want to. It's going to be like, I just wrote all these posts. And it's like, no, brain. Or actually, maybe even do this first. Be like, hey, I am making this program right now. I'm actually like doing a webinar about it on Friday, but I really think this would be perfect for you. What would you say? What would it be like? Because I literally like messaged my coach today and I was like, tell me what I should say to the people who signed up because I don't know what to tell the humans. She was like, it just helps you to have something that you could, if you've got their phone numbers to like copy and paste in text, do not copy and paste on Instagram because that's how I got flagged. But you could do like a video saying the same thing over and over. But what would you want to say to them?
I mean, I guess it would just be at first like hey, just wanted to see how um your weight loss is going. Like, is there anything that I can do to like help you with that? Or um I don't know. Like I feel like there has to be like a conversation first. And I don't know if that's just my brain kind of being
Brains,
like dramatic and yeah, braining.
yeah,
Um
these people, it's like I am so excited. I just came up with this course that I think could be great for you, but I want to hear about how things are going. It's like this 6-week group program that's going to be similar to last time's setup, but teaching new content in it. It's like, because if you think about it, like that could be a way that you could get started for colder leads. So this is like people who are like hot, they bought from you before. It's like no pressure, but like this is gonna be good. I know that you could use this right now. The summer slump is coming. And then the warm leads where you're like, that's where you can be like, I wanted to see how your weight loss is go. It's like these are people who you've like talked to about weight loss or like people who are liking your stuff or things like that. Hey, I wanted to see I'm doing a I ooh, I'm actually doing a webinar this Friday about summer or about sustainable weight loss because I've seen so many of us hitting that post summer slump. Would you want to come? And this, I would say this goes for warm and cold.
yeah.
How does that feel to you about like doing this today?
Reaching out to how many?
The
All of them?
all the humans just be like, hi. Got something really fucking great.
Um Man, that feels like a lot for today.
I think that we leave the managing leads. This would be the first thing you do. And then
Okay.
media and then the marketing will be second. So like literally like right after this call, just like get to messaging the humans. And then I think the webinar, like for me, which is not a good, I'm like, should I tell you this? I'm like, but for me, it's like whenever the webinar is like coming up and I'm like, oh shit, I need to do it, it'll get done. Like there's no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind that it'll just be like, yep, I waited till the last minute and that's okay. I literally like have like scheduled coaching calls because I'm like, I know I'm going to put this off and I need you to just sit with me while I do this. So you can do that. You can be like, hey, phone a friend if you got anyone from like you talked about that accountability partner. So be like,
Hmm.
hey, can you just sit with me on Wednesday night and can we just like knock this PowerPoint out? I just need you to like literally like sit with me, talk with me through it. Could you do that? But I think that this is like awesome. Totally getting into action. How are you feeling about all this?
Good. I did have something I wanted to like kind of run by you as like a secondary thing. And I don't know if it's like worth it or not. So I still have all these videos, right, from my previous group program. So, and I guess my brain's telling me it's going to take too much to figure out in my ConvertKit email database or whatever that is, to figure out how to put everybody into the funnel for the webinar, right? And then having these emails that can just automatically generate out to them. But then being able to, whoever doesn't decide to join the group coaching program, to be able to maybe sell the previous videos and the previous workbooks as like a self-study program for like, I don't know, like a lower price point, $97 or maybe even 47. And I could just like have those emails automate once a week for them.
So if we're thinking about the course of your year, you're going to have 2 weeks every 6 months, pretty much, like for the sake of time. It's like, so there are 52 weeks in a year divided by 6. Would that be, no, 6 divided by 52, right? Is
Yeah.
that 11 weeks? It's gonna be like it's less than that. It'll be 8. That was the first one that I did. So it's this. So it's like you're gonna be selling about every 8 weeks this group coaching program ish.
Okay.
Or like you'll do that 8 times within the year. So this is where I would look at your annual plan and be like, would it be something that I would be able to, like, do I want to spend, if I'm spending 8 of the 52 weeks on the group, and this is within like a 2-week like selling period, what within the other weeks of the year do I want to transition? It's going to be backwards, but it's like, okay, within the 44 other weeks of the year, do I want to sell this course thing, or would I be rather selling one-on-one?
Well, I guess I wasn't really thinking of it as like something that I would intentionally have to
Advertise?
like right. Like I wouldn't really advertise it like on my social or anything. It would be like just within my like email funnel. If they don't elect to buy, then it'd be like, hey, like noticed you didn't sign up for this. That's cool. Maybe it's not the right time for you. Maybe you prefer to go on your own. If that is the case, like I also have this amazing like self-study course that I used to run as my group and had, you know, a lot of stuff, or I don't know what the email would say, but then like,
So I think that could, I think that could definitely be a part of your funnel. Let's nightstand this. Let's like keep this on the nightstand.
okay.
Like I'm thinking about, focus on this for this week. I know you're gonna be in the group this next round. So let's get through this launch. Let's see how it goes. And then I've got this now in my brain that this is something we could do.
Okay.
And we can like evaluate after. I wouldn't spend time doing this now, but great to know. If anything, it could just be a value add for your clients, and it could be something that you could sell to.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing. And the only reason why I'm like thinking that is like when we're selling a self-study, it's like it's like you're kind of like telling people, it's like I don't know. I think we want to get people to be like, I want to work with Andrea. I want to like work with you and pay you. And so if we're like telling them they could self-study instead, I don't want it to counteract any of the like, we want to work with you kind of energy.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're nightstanding it. We've got this. How does that feel for you, Maria? That was like a lot also for you to listen to, but I think it was really fucking good. Andrea, are you feeling complete and good?
Yep.
Hey, Maria. Do you have any thoughts, anything to add? I don't know if you had a chance to hear what we were talking about, but I think I would love to hear what you're thinking.
You're crushing it.
Right?
You guys just like solved all the world's problems. No. Yeah, it's like and maybe this is a little tinged by like my own update, but it's kind of like you guys made so many decisions, which is amazing, and that can like take time and be like consuming, but it's like just like getting yourself in a place to take action is like all you have to do. Which is like I say that and like all you have to do. And it's like part of me is like that's bullshit. Like it's taking action's hard too. Like sometimes the barrier is like the thought work of not know, of like figuring like the mindset of like I do know what to do, and then it's like deciding what to do, and then like doing the actual thing. But so it's like still that's still like a big deal. But I know you're gonna like kick butt.
Like it's so freaking good. And I know the second that you go to manage your lead, like messaging people, your brain's gonna be like, but then you're like, nope, I don't have time for you to freak out, brain. It's like we have our scheduled freak out time this evening. Send me your thoughts. Well, send it to me in a lovely email, and we will still send these people this information, you know? So damn good. Okay, Maria, I want to coach you. And I also really have to use the bathroom. I have a kidney infection and my brain is just like,
Oh,
I know it's the won't, but it's okay. So I'm just going to mute up and I just want you to ponder what you want some coaching on. And I'm going to be back in like very quickly.
yes, please do.
So Maria, I had shared with Megan on we had our one-on-one call a little bit ago, and how I was kind of getting all in my like emotions and being very like indulgent about like the confusion, the overwhelm, the indecision and all that.
Yeah.
And I watched this documentary on Amazon Prime,
Oh,
and
cool.
it's called Just 1 Mile. And it's about these ultra runners, ultra marathon runners. This guy's like an ex-Navy SEAL. And he said that like basically the way that he wins this is that he just keeps all emotions out of it. He's
Yeah.
like, when I'm running the race, it's just one foot in front of the other. It's just that consistent action. And he was
Yeah.
like, the moment I let emotion come in is when I start crumbling down. And
Totally.
so I felt like I really had to like take a step back and apply that to myself in my business, because I felt like that's all I was doing was like kind of analyzing like, why am I feeling this way, or why can't I seem to take action or whatever. And I don't know, it's been helpful. It's not that I can't look at my emotions, but like I finally just had to be like, you know what, we just either gotta shit or get off the pot, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just like take some action and get some of those like small wins in there for me. So
Yeah, it's like being yeah, and I think like the way that that works is like being careful that you don't accidentally go into a thing where you're like completely dissociating from emotions. That like I remember you talking about this last week, and you were saying um like schedule time to like feel everything.
Mhm.
And I think that's like really really important if you like go about if you kind of go about like the like kind of separating it or whatever, just to make sure that you are processing it, because if you don't, then it like becomes a different problem.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How long have you had your business?
So this is I think my third year.
Yeah.
And by far my worst. And I think it's just all my own mental um stuff, right?
Are you telling
So
yourself like, oh, it's the year 3, like I should be way further along by now?
oh,
Is that
100%.
drama, or is it
Yeah.
like, yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like
it's just
3 too, actually. Or like, wait, yeah, I guess I like just hit year 3 like this summer. I try not to like, I mean, yeah, I like think about it occasionally. I've definitely had those thoughts before. Um, but I also feel like something that we have an advantage of is like 3 years is also enough time where you're like, oh yeah, like I think back to like year one, the first 6 months.
Mhm.
I remember like laying like face down on my bed, just crying. Like I like the intensity of the emotion that I felt at times
Mhm.
is like it's like actually it actually for me it has like smoothed out a little bit. And so like when stuff comes up, I'm like, okay, totally valid, but also like whatever. This is just like been here. Like let's. It doesn't like freak me out so bad. Um,
Right.
but I hear what you're saying, where you start thinking like, should I keep doing it?
Mhm.
Is this like a waste of time or something?
Well, and I think that
Yeah.
like decision, I think that like we made last week, it was like, because you can be on that shit or get off the pot feeling for so long. And it's like once you just decide that you're like, I'm doing it, come hell or high water, I'm doing it. And if I change my mind in the future, great. But for the next 6 months of my life, it like for me, I was thinking about it like last night. I was like, I want to look back on my life and be like, I tried my darndest to create a cool business. And I like that is something that I have left on the world. Whether or not it goes to where I feel like it could go remains to be seen. But I think that like when we're thinking about like it's just being like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep going. And when you make that decision, when quitting isn't an option, then it pushes you to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna take action. I'm gonna, and that's literally like the coaching I got from Olivia. Like this is like way back in the day. And I was literally just like sobbing on our 200K call. And I'm like, I don't even know if I want it anymore. And she's like, no, it's not an option anymore. And she was like very aggressive. I'm like trying to be very lighthearted about it, but she was like, no. She's like, when quitting isn't an option, then you have to fucking do shit. And I was like, damn it, Olivia. All right. I was like, for at least another 6 months and then I'll reevaluate. And I was like, all right. And she was like,
The
okay.
other thing I was gonna say, and I don't know if it'll be helpful for you, Andrea, but like sometimes you're like so in your own like world in your head and your own emotions, but like um my husband and I were talking the other day, and I wasn't like it wasn't like a conversation about my business. We were talking about like just life in general, and he was like, "Yeah, and like you're," or I think we were talking about like, "Oh, it'd be really hard to like go back and do a job that was just kind of like punching paper, like there's nothing wring with that." But we both have been in jobs like that before, where we're like, "Yeah, we're doing it to pay bills, and we're doing it because we thought that's what we wanted." But I knew that I didn't have like a deep like connection to it. And he's like, yeah. And he was talking about my business, and it was just like interesting to hear someone else talk about my business that isn't my brain. And he was like, yeah, like, you know, you have like a direct impact on women, and like like you can see it, you can see their life change. And he like it was just like a moment where I was like, oh wow, yeah. I like forget to remember that on like a weekly basis, even if I'm not helping like hundreds of women yet. When I am helping someone, I'm like really I am helping them. And like yes, I'm figuring out the business part and figuring out how to scale and stuff. But and like you are doing that exact thing in your business too. Like maybe you're not like yeah. I just think like that can be like very meaningful and purposeful as well. And like
Yeah. I mean, 100%. When I speak with the women that I help on the phone, like there's nothing as energizing and as like fulfilling as that I do at my regular 9 to 5. So I totally understand that. And thank you for reminding me of that.
yeah. Um
So proud of you guys. That's awesome. We are. It's like we're doing the damn thing. It's like we're doing what most people never do. I was talking with my other friend who's a consultant, and she was like, I could never do what you're doing, but I wish I could. And I'm like, oh, I want more people to actually do the things. But it was like the fact that we're even just like getting out there and doing like helping one life, even if it's just your own life improve, is something that most humans never do in this lifetime, which is just awesome. And now we're actually using what's helped us to help others, even more awesome. So
you it's like doing this isn't for everyone. Like not everybody wants to like be an entrepreneur or like have their own business. Um And like the truth is that it is really hard. Which is okay. There's nothing that's like part of the beauty of it. Um, but just that you're even just that we are even like pursuing it is like a huge feat. And like sometimes for me, like sometimes things get easier when I like deeply accept that they are difficult, that they are hard. Then I'm not fighting against like it should be easier, I should be better at this. It's like no, like maybe I am floundering, but like it's like telling someone like, oh yeah, like an ultra marathon should be easy.
Mhm.
Like no one says that. And
No.
so it would make sense that like lots of people who try it are like have to try a lot of times to like do it, you know? And like yes, there are people out there right now that are like winning ultra marathons and finishing them and whatever. But there's like a lot of people who are still figuring it out. And like, I don't know, that I'm not like subconsciously or like, you know, sneakily beating myself up for not having a, you know, making more money or whatever the metric is that I'm trying to reach.
Well, and I like also like just thinking about like how much our society has evolved as well. Like the fact that we're women, that we literally couldn't even apply for like a credit card or our own bank account 100 years ago. And we are women that are deciding to start these businesses to empower mostly women. It's like I do all entrepreneurs, but like everyone I've coached really has been a woman except for like 4 people. So it's like when we're thinking about like how we're like progressing women and helping our society evolve, I think it's also like a huge feat too.
Yeah.
So it's like come a really fucking long way. And we're carrying the torch to the next, like it's like, what do we want to do? How are we gonna like help move our society further? And Maria, you said that you were getting in you were saying that there were lots of decisions, and I want to hear what has been going on for you in your business with any things that are going on for you now.
Yeah. Um, I am kind of in a place where I'm just like, I know what I know what I need to do. Um, I'm like currently on vacation, but I'm taking like you know, a few, I'm taking like the most important calls. And it's been nice to have like some space this week to yeah, like I'm kind of I don't feel like I'm having like a lot of, and maybe it's because I'm on vacation. I don't feel like I'm having a ton of like mental drama. Um like when I am thinking, I've been able to like zoom out a little bit on my business and think about like, you know, the rest of this year. And it's like I want to do another webinar. I it's like and I feel like I've said this the past like couple weeks too, of just like I have I have like the core system set up. Um and it's really about just like working the process and not like going into like what else do I need to do? Oh, I'm doing something wrong. If the clients aren't like immediately flooding in or something, it's like that's not necessarily like an indicate like I haven't there's just yeah, it's like coming back to the systems, coming back to the basics. Um and like continuing what I've like the foundation that I've already set up.
I think exactly. And when we're thinking about like creating like goals and things like that, one of the things that I was talking about like at the beginning of the call is like this pillars. So you can always
Mhm.
come back to like, okay, where do I want to go for the rest of the year? Where do I want my next 6 months to go? Where am I at now after like this whole 6 months being like, okay, do I want to do anything differently for delivering? Do I want to do anything differently for marketing, sales, teaching? What are like goals in each of those categories? What would it take to be a 10? And being
Yeah.
like, how could I improve this? And like thinking about you and like your core pillars and things like that. I know it's been a while, but like I think that almost like in next round it's like I'm going to be like showing more documents of like these kind of things, but being like the level of focus with the prioritized plan protocol, confident decision making, which is the career confidence code, compassionate leadership skills, the impactful executive method, stress management, the sustainable energy system. Like all of those things are just so needed in corporate America right now for these women who are executive leaders that are trying to create this. So if you're thinking about, okay, how can I be like leading this movement? One of the things that, especially because you're on vacation, what I want to do is like give your brain like things to think about. And so if we're thinking about something I've actually realized is I do a lot of my best work, or I get my best ideas when I'm not actually working. So like when I'm walking the dog, when I'm doing the dishes in the shower, when I just wake up, I have a lot of ideas, or driving's a huge one for me. So it's almost like as you are on this vacation, being like, okay, what do I want to like teach about stress management like for the rest of the year? How can I teach compassionate leadership skills? What is something I want to do with confident decision making? How can I help them refocus at this time of the year? If we can give your brain some prompts and like things to like focus on, I think that would help you as you're like the reticular activating system is the part of your brain that just like goes to work once you've got these ideas and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get this idea. I'm gonna think of a post about this, or I'm going to do a webinar about this. And I think that if we can give your brain some more parameters, it can help you to just like brainstorm on vacation.
Yeah, the thing that's like coming to me right now is I was like, oh, like as you pulled up my pillars, I was because I've what's kind of like fun for me is to like forecast a little bit. So it's like if I'm gonna do a webinar in October, like towards the end of October, then like what does that set me up to do? What does that set me up to do like in January or February? And I'm also like making a commitment to myself to like every year I'm like, oh, I should do something at the very end of the year, like to launch the new year. And every year it's like that's the worst, like it's the worst time for me and it's the worst time for everyone else because everyone's trying to wind down. Everyone has like all the added like celebrations, gift giving, especially women. It's like the busiest time for women to, as much as it's like fun to think about, let's like set up our next year. It's like, and it like, I actually don't want to be like adding, like building things at like that time. So that's like a long way of saying, um, and like
Again,
every year I'm like beat myself up because I'm like, oh, I should have planned ahead and like done some webinar in December. And I'm like, that's not even a good time for my people. Like no one has just like bonus time to like do things. But what I was thinking is like because I was like, oh, the new year I should do like the focus thing so people set up their year. But actually, like if I did a webinar on how to like some of these like principles in my focus pillar around like how to go up to focus like cutting basically doing like a webinar before the holidays on like, hey, it is like essential for you to like reprioritize everything in your life if you want to have like a peaceful holiday or a peaceful like holiday season and do it like focus it more. So basically and that's like one thing that I've been kind of thinking about like every time I'm like what's the webinar gonna like what's the topic like I have on my list, hey, what like start planning the next webinar, and the first thing is like what is the webinar going to be about, but doing something on like reprioritizing and figuring out like what things you could say no to. It's like about like what comes to the top of the list, but it's also about like what gets like dropped to the bottom of the list or completely crossed off the list. And I think like doing like a really valuable time to do that is like right before the holiday season begins.
I think
So
that's
people go into this like time that everyone feels like shit with the actual tools instead of being like, hey, did you just have like a super like non-relaxing holiday? Let me help you now in January.
Exactly.
And like, and let me help you like start the new year, basically like having you buy into the idea that you fucked up the last 3 months and now you need to like start the new year better somehow.
Yeah.
That
And I
makes
think
sense.
when you're thinking about the reprioritizing, it's like how could we, so we're in the second to last week in September. So it's like if we want to do something like that, being like, okay, we start the way that I would do your marketing would be like, okay, I don't know, are you doing any marketing this week or are you just staying off social?
I am, but it's not about the webinar. It's like evergreen stuff.
So it's like the, and also Andrea, I was like, when we're talking about like not the best time for someone else's people, it's like it also could be a great time for your people. So I was like, I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna launch in like just December and be like, no, this isn't a good time. It's a good time for your people. We just have different people. But when you're thinking about doing a webinar, the last time I did a webinar was in May. So so it was in May. So I knew that I was seeding the webinar these weeks before.
Yeah.
So like thinking about setting up your webinar and doing like your content calendar or something like that, being like, okay, and again, this was a crazy like May to June, I was like kicked off social media. So I was like, it was a strange way to look at my freaking content calendar that I had to completely change. But not that I'm bitter, but I'm totally bitter. But within that, it's like you want to make sure that you're like seeing it beforehand. So it's like we've got like 2 weeks in September. And then what do you think is a pillar? I would do the focus pillar if you're going to do it towards the end of October. Well, this is going to help. Okay. Just like I had Andrew do, like spitfire, like decision making, which when do you want to do this webinar?
I was gonna do it on Wednesday, the 25th,
Boom. Okay.
October.
Okay. So we got October 25th is going to be the webinar. So then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before that. So this is like the 5th week. And this is going to be like Wednesday. So do you want this 5th week? This is going to be, and also this week, you're on vacation. This is typical content.
Yeah. And then next week I will make the like content calendar for October.
And calendar for October. And so the way I would do it is like 2 ways. You can either talk about the focus of the webinar, the week of the webinar, or the week before. So what would you,
What I liked about what I did last time was like, if I'm doing it on the 25th, the week before that is like the 16th through the 20th. And I started talking about like the focus pillar. Gosh, what did I do? I started talking about you recommended talking about the webinar starting like I don't remember. I did like a few more extra days where I just like, it was more like an announcement post. But basically the week before I was like talking about focus and then saying, and then I have this webinar like the 16th to the 20th. And then probably like the 9th through the 13th, I talked about a pillar adjacent to focus.
And what I would do is I would do a pillar like adjacent to it. And then what's like, if we're thinking about like, if they're focused, that's where you can connect it to the,
yeah, it could be,
maybe it's stress management and being like, by determining your focus, you'll have better stress. It's like, it'll help alleviate stress. Or
yeah, yeah, because it's kind of like the reason why you're, in this case, like when you're prepping for the holidays, and like just general, like Q4 tends to just be like a lot of industries are just like pushing super hard. Like everything ramps up as like the end of the year is wrapping up, and there's like so many social events. So yeah, like it could be like stress management, like the reason why we're
It's like, so we'll go from like talking about a week for focus, and then the week of the webinar being like, the focus will help you alleviate stress, and this will help alleviate stress. And here's a client that has
oh,
lived
actually stress is going to be the third week,
third week. Okay, perfect.
is the week of like the 23rd, 24th, 25th is just all about like focus, and the fact that the webinar is going to happen on Wednesday, and like
We're
signing up.
focus. We're gonna keep the focus. And I want you to think about like how, if you were like, and same with you, Andrea, if you were to think about like an intention, like less harsh than like a goal or something like that, but it's like, it would be really cool if I could, because of this webinar on Wednesday, October 25th, how many clients would be amazing, just something fun to do to help. So it's like, because of this webinar, I'm going to attract how many people?
Meaning like how many people sign up or how many people like come to the webinar?
You could do both. It's like, how many people would you love to sign up? Would it just be fun to
What
like
would be really fun would be like 35,
35? Amazing.
like more than last time, but not like being so um kind of like giving myself time to like grow into like bigger numbers.
Yep.
So I think like yeah, I've noticed over time that I like almost, I don't know if gaslight myself is like a, that's a little harsh, but it's like, oh, it would be really fun is like 100 people, but it's like sometimes I don't like, and not like I like being like unrealistic or like not letting myself think in terms of realistic or unrealistic, but it's like I also can give myself space to like grow into bigger numbers.
And I was just like talking with like I had a consult yesterday, and we were talking about her goal for this year, and I was like, within the goal, it's not about the number as much as the person you're becoming on the way to that number. So it's like, if I'm becoming the kind of person that attracts 35 people on a call, it's like, I'm the kind of person that brings this many people into my program. I'm the kind of person, and thinking about this is like the self-concept piece. It's like, what does she do? That's the CEO self-concept that we're growing into. It's like, we're growing into the CEO that gets 35 people on a call, that gets 35, or it's like that. How many consults would you like to have from this?
4.
Amazing. How many people would you like to start coaching from this?
3.
Boom. Okay. And it's like, that's the kind of person I'm becoming. These are our guesses. This is our estimate, best guess. But it's like, if we can, it's like, for me, I'm like, for my goal for the group is that eventually I want to get 30 people into my group. I'm like, I think it'd be really awesome. I've held space for 36 like small children. And I'm like, I know that I could do it for adults that don't have like, literally, like my kids had like something stupid. Like they would have like 14 assignments a day. And so I'd have to look through all their assignments every single day. I'm like, I know if I can manage a classroom and still chart growth and still communicate to parents and all this jazz, I can probably hold space for that for adults. Now, my goal for this launch is 15. I'm like, that is like my goal. But as I'm envisioning that 30-person group, I'm like, okay, I would maybe need to hire somebody else to be like checking in with people. Maybe I'm going to have a VA that's going to be working with people. There's good, like, as I become the kind of person that's holding space for that many people, my problem solving becomes very different. Like, it's not just like, okay, how can I get people in for this one webinar? It's like, how can I consistently bring in people for every single webinar? What would it take for me to be like a leader, like really showing up as a thought leader in the business coaching space to bring in 30 people every single launch? Maybe I'm like, that really shifts the way that I did the webinar this round. It's like really changing a lot of what I'm doing. And so for you, if you're thinking I'm becoming the kind of person who just attracts all these really strong like women leaders who want what I have to offer, it's like how the problem solving that you do today and the way that you think about your business becomes different even on this trip. Even while you're like just thinking about it, it's like, how am I showing up as a leader for women executives? It's like I'm the leader, and being like, even putting it's like I am the leader for women executive. Andrea, for you, I am the leader for sustainable weight loss in my group. It's like I am the person, I am that CEO. If you want to lose weight sustainably, come to me. If you want to enjoy it, if you want to have a more fulfilling career as an executive leader in America, come to me. It's like, or anywhere, not just America, just like, got all patriotic all of a sudden. Anywhere, so it's like when you think about like making that content calendar next week, as you make that content calendar as this leader in the executive field, that's the self-concept shift that I want you to create from. So if you're thinking about like, and then maybe that first, so it's like we got stress management, and then we've got decision making and compassionate leadership. What would that version, like that's the CEO self-concept, this leader of executive women, what would she want to talk about next week?
Like I think the next one that's like adjacent is like confident decision making.
Yes. Decision making. And then she's already, if you see yourself, and this is what comes with like that decision, as like as we become like these like leaders within these spaces. And the same thing I was telling you, Andrea, is like, we're not just like, this is the only webinar. It's like, oh, I'm going to be doing webinars very often. It's like, this is not the launch to end all launches. This is not the webinar to end all webinars. So as you're like a leader, then you're already thinking about like compassionate leadership skills already in that week. You're like, already, I know passionate leadership skills. So you're like, you're not like, oh my God, this, like, if 3 people don't start coaching, this is the end. It's like, no, it's like, we are going to be doing this for a long time. And what helped me to do that is like seeing my year. And you can use this, like to think about like, okay, it's like as an executive coach for women, that's like this badass leader who's like completely changing the way that these women think about their careers and contributions in their lives. It's like, okay, maybe I do a webinar a quarter. Like, okay, what would that look like? What would I want that year to look like? Andrea, you could do this too and be like, okay, it's like, it's like pretty much like an every other-ish month you launch. So it'll be like, okay, I'm doing a October launch, or it's like, it's kind of like a end of September launch. So you actually are kind of similar. So it'd be like September, November. I actually chose to not do a group, but you would be like February. So you can see that.
Yeah.
In the like grand scheme of things. Do you want me to send it? I'll just send this to you guys so you can like see it.
Yeah, that's like something, that is something that I for sure want to like map out for my 2024.
Yes.
Where it's like, it's kind of just decided.
Yeah. Because then when it's decided, then my brain isn't like, oh my God, this is a launch to end all launches. I'm like, bitch, I'm launching again in November. I'm like, I literally am going to be launching again in 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, but like a month later, I'm going to be launching this other. I'm like, brain, it's like, no, this is not the case. We are going to, and then I'm going to launch again in March and then in May. It's not the launch to end all launches. It's not the webinar to end all webinars. It's not the group program to end all group programs. It just makes it like, so.
Yeah. And then you also know that you're kind of like, you're going to hit like all your pillars, but that you might like, test out like different concepts within those pillars. Like even just doing like the last round, just doing, yeah. Sorry, I just had a thought about like launch, like doing a webinar last time made me think so much harder about that pillar. And I like built out like a much more detailed, like it basically helped me just like build out my entire kind of like teaching method underneath that pillar, so that I could pick out like the one sub pillar to do
Yeah.
the webinar on, and like, how do I separate these concepts? Because for me, yeah,
Mhm.
the so yeah, that was like a total tangent.
Well, actually, I think
I
that was
just
like,
remembered that that's what, because it took me like a little bit to like decide exactly. Yeah, I'm excited to do that process. I just remembered something. Yeah, thank you.
amazing. And that's another thing for Andrea. If you want to, so the way that like the sustainable weight loss, that could maybe be like something that you just have on your website that you're like, here's something to teach about the whole coaching program that I do. And then for the next webinars that you do, you could test out a pillar and you could be like, okay, let's talk about, it'll be like this momentum. It's like, I think this could be, so you're going to be launching, if you launch every 6 weeks, that's going to be like 8 launches a year, 8 or 9, something like that. So you're going to have this group 8 to 9 times throughout the year. So it's like every, it's like you'll have 2 times per pillar. If that, so it's like you could do like 2 webinars on momentum, 2 on intentionality, 2 on emotional eating, and 2 on self-confidence. If you look at it throughout the year, you're like, oh, I feel like self-confidence great before summer. Oh, I feel like emotional eating during the holidays at the holiday party. It's like you can start to figure out, okay, what would actually make sense during the year for my people. And then it can be like, that can be like a different way that you approach it. And again, when you've got like that, this big old calendar, you're like, oh, it's like, if it didn't work out for this one, it's like, okay, my evaluation, super quick, boom, moving on to the next one. It's like, okay, what could I do differently? It's like, I thought that this piece of like, it's like, I thought that this formula would give me this result. It did not. That's interesting. Let's figure out why versus it being like, it did because of me. It's like, no, it's not you. It's just a formula. If we can keep you out of your business and of course get coaching on it whenever it is, but it's like, if we can just like make it a little bit more like, okay, we just need to do different shit. Then it's more of like, I'm the CEO of a business versus a person trying to start a business. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
so are you feeling complete now? Like and excited? I'm excited about
Like I now with like the webinar stuff, like I know I need to like last time around it took me like a couple, like it took me a couple days to like end up landing in the place that yeah, like now I'm like, oh, I've had that thing on like start webinar prep and it's like super broad and it's not, and I'm like, I've been like seeing it on there and I'm like, oh, I need to decide on an idea, and we just did that, which is great. But
Yeah.
but then what was even greater is like I now know it's the exact kind of like worksheet that I need to go work on. And that's gonna help me like pull out the specific like thing that I'm gonna, like I know what I want it to be, but it helps me to like understand where it fits. And I'm doing a whole process in my business where I'm like, I'm making sure that like I have organized like every little module and like lesson that I teach almost. And I know like where it fits within my program. And it might like matter less to that. Like it's almost, I'm not like ready to launch a group, but it's almost like I'm building the building blocks. And maybe I'll never launch a group, but it's more so like, I think like one of my like goals since we started working together was like, how can I make tangible ideas about leadership um and like relieving burnout more, like how can I take esoteric ideas and make them more concrete? And like the things that like there are things about the way that I like did my about the way that I healed burnout that I'm like, oh, or like was a leader that I think are intuitive or that came more naturally to me. But how can I like create a worksheet so someone else can like be inside my brain and be like, I think about this and then I think about this and then I think about this, like how can I really teach it in a way that's digestible? And so I'm in a process right now where I'm like building out all of those systems or all of those like little pieces so that when a client says, I'm like delegating, or I'm wanting to make sure that I'm like teaching concepts in a in a way that is like good for them, but I still feel like lost about it. How can I, is there like, what kind of process can I like use? Or I want to make sure I'm not missing something, that I'm like, oh yeah, let's like do this worksheet together.
Yeah. You want to put it in the Google Classroom. Everyone can make a Google Classroom. It is free. And so you can start without even sharing it with your clients. You can make that something that's just like, oh, and you get access to this. It's a work in progress, but it's still something that could be valuable. Andrea, that could be something you could do as well. Is like, if you're in your program, they get access to your Google Classroom, and you could take the old videos you had in your coaching in your Facebook group. You could figure out which pillar it kind of fits with, and kind of like play around with it that way. And you can actually download them off of Facebook and make them a YouTube video. I did that with a lot of things I did when I was kicked off social media. And I think just like being able to see yourself as like, okay, as Maria, to your point, like thinking about you being like, okay, I am now leading the women in executive spaces. This is my role. It's like being able to be like articulating that even better with the actual pillars, or like having some like educational pieces, some worksheets, like all that kind of stuff. And you could pick a worksheet and teach a webinar. It's like, it's just kind of like a plug and chug. It's like, oh, I already even taught about this. I can just teach that in a webinar for my people. I think that's going to be a really great way for you to get experience as a teacher, and being able to like lead in this space.
Totally. Yeah. I'm like, I have like a shared Google Calendar right now, that I'll like drop things into for them, that I feel like but the Google Classroom, I'm sure, is like close. Right now I'm just like using the path of least resistance. And then and I have a client right now that's like, really, she came to me less because she's like, I'm completely burnt out or whatever. She's like, I just took on a new role as like the head of strategy at this advertising agency, and I want support. So she's like, she's coming to me so much more for like the leadership and like consulting pieces, and like there's always like mindset coaching opportunities in that as well. But she's like the perfect client to kind of like build it as I go a little bit, or be like a couple steps ahead of her and building things like as she's needing it. And like just really making sure I'm listening to like how she's asking the question, so that I build the thing that like answers her question, and coming at it from a couple different angles as well. And like she probably won't use like every worksheet as we kind of work through like what her specific needs are, but it's like a great place to start.
So damn good. I'm so with you. I feel like this was just such a fun coaching call. Andrea, do you have anything you want to add? Marie, are you open to anything, or are you feeling good?
Yes, I'm feeling good. I'm gonna have to jump. It's like 9 now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, Andrea, if you got any thoughts for Maria, feel free to post it in the classroom. You guys are freaking killing it. Like, we are freaking CEOs of these amazing businesses that are changing the world and helping people. So do amazing things today from that mindset. Both of you, go and kill it. Andrea, you've got this. Go and message the humans. Maria, just embody this and plan. It's going to be great.
Thank you.
All right. I love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.